For the Pittsburgh Steelers, in need of a new franchise QB, after the loss of Ben Roethlisberger, they began the process of finding the next QB. So from this year's Steelers preseason/training camp, what do we learn from the Steelers quarterback competition? Hi and welcome to my channel. My name is Glenn. I will bring some Pittsburgh Steelers content this season for the upcoming NFL football season. And over the offseason, the Steelers signed free agent QB Mitchell Trubisky, former first-round pick of the Chicago Bears, and backup last season to Josh Allen with the Buffalo Bills. And then they also drafted Kenny Pickett in the first round from Pittsburgh University, who was a Heisman finalist in his final season of college football. And then the only remaining current QB on the Steelers roster is Mason Rudolph. The Steelers selected him in the third round of the 2019 draft. These three QBs fought all preseason/training camp for the starting quarterback role, and now we will see who has won this key role in the Steelers' offense in the coming days. But let's take a look and see how all three quarterbacks did in training camp and preseason. So beginning off, let's start with Mitchell Trubisky. We all knew based off of Coach Tomlin and other current players on the roster that this is basically Trubisky's job to lose. In training camp, Mitch mainly played with the first team the whole time, building chemistry with the key skill positions. And he did have his ups and downs, but when he played in the preseason games, he looked very well prepared, really solidified his role against the Lions in a 2-minute drill when he led the team for a touchdown, throwing a very nice ball to Pat Freiermuth on a seam or vertical route. Very good against the Steelers defense in training camp. He started off, like I said, very up and down, but he's been doing well. Issues I did see were his inconsistencies, reading the defense and making proper reads led to a couple of negative plays. There was a play against the Detroit Lions where it was on a bootleg and Trubisky, all his reads, they weren't open and he was just going to take the yards, but he was taking too long, and instead of getting a couple of yards, he lost 2 or 3 instead. That's kind of something that we've seen from Trubisky in his days with Chicago too, that he just has a tough time reading defense and sometimes understanding complex coverages. The plays going on a lot faster on the field than he thinks in his own vision, and this is just causing him to make these little negative plays that make a second and it makes a second down, a second and 7, or a second and 13 in this situation. It's not a big deal. It's just something that if you've seen Trubisky play a lot, then this has been a common issue in his game. Compared to all the other QBs, he's able to push the ball down the field, which Mason and Kenny had some issue with that, or they were very limited in their deep ball opportunities. Maybe that's just something done with the offense differently with them. But overall, Trubisky, he hasn't done anything to hurt his chances of getting the #1 quarterback spot. It's mainly just up to Coach Tomlin, like how he feels about it. The next quarterback was Kenny Pickett, who started off very slow, making lots of mistakes and bad reads in training camp through the first week. But since then, he's been climbing the ladder. It's been a slow progression, but he's really shown out. Saw some good stuff against the Seahawks, throwing 2 touchdowns, including a game-winning score to Tyler Vaughn's. Also leading a 2-minute drive against the Jaguars for a touchdown, and in that drive throwing a great ball to Pat Freiermuth on the option route over the middle of the field, compared to Mitchell Trubisky, who had some struggles, but that kind of had to do with the offensive line and some woes they're going through when you're going against the talented Jaguars front with Josh Allen and Trayvon Walker. But Pickett, throughout the preseason games, he showed great poise and confidence in his ability when you needed it, which is great to see in a young QB. Kenny's stock has been going up since the first preseason game and has gotten him more reps with the first and second team. This is just making the QB decision a lot harder, but Kenny's giving it all he's got right now. Really, overall, he's had a great performance. Last of all is Mason Rudolph, being categorized as the best QB through the first week of training camp. It has looked a lot better compared to last year. In week 1, he had really good plays, most notably the 26-yard touchdown pass to George Pickens, where he threw it into the corner of the end zone perfectly for Pickens to make the toe tap catch. But the rest of training camp, he's just been very quiet. Still making plays, but the emergence of Kenny Pickett has made Rudolph lose reps with the second team. Rudolph has proved to be a serviceable backup quarterback. So Steelers have been getting trade calls from him, as reported by NFL insider Ian Rappaport. The Steelers still have not accepted a trade offer or are not even looking for it. They've been very adamant that they are not just going to give him up. And that mainly has to do with what happened the 2019 season when the Steelers had Ben Roethlisberger, Mason Rudolph, and Joshua Dobbs on the team. It was a big issue when Ben Roethlisberger went down with the season-ending elbow injury. Your only serviceable backup was at that time your rookie Mason Rudolph, because before the season they traded away Joshua Dobbs for a mid-round pick. It just made for that season was a very rocky because of that. So that may be one of the reasons why they're trying to keep Rudolph on this team as long as possible in case something like that happens. So they are looking for, I would say, at least a fifth round pick. As I'm guessing, a team hasn't given the Steelers an offer like that yet. So they're just holding on to Mason Rudolph at this point for the rest of the season because this is his last year with the Steelers on his contract as of now. But Mason, throughout his career, he hasn't been the guy. Even when he was first drafted by Steelers, I wouldn't say he got bashed on by Ben Roethlisberger, but Roethlisberger called out the team for drafting a quarterback that high when they needed help on the offensive side of the ball. They could have really used that pick for something else instead of a backup quarterback. That first season, because he was so unprepared because of the situation he got into, he just did not look that good. And it just a bad rap with the fan base. And then even last year, getting told the day before when Ben Roethlisberger went down with COVID for 1 week, he did not look good against the Detroit Lions, and that was not good for him because Detroit last season was just horrible. And when you're trying to show how good you are to your team and the scouts and the coaches, it's not good tying with the Lions. That's why going into the offseason, they had to pick up Trubisky. They had to draft Pickett because Mason Rudolph and that proved very much worth to them, but he can still be a good backup in the league. Hopefully, whenever he is dealt away, he can find a more stable roster spot. But, as going through preseason training camp, he's done well. Overall, the QB competition has played out like I thought it would. The only part I didn't account for was Mason Rudolph performing so well, but the decision really does all come down to whether you take a chance on the young up-and-coming Kenny Pickett that you selected in the first round, or let him sit a little bit more. See what Trubisky can do for you. Trubisky has played the best out of all three QBs, but that has to do with his experience of being a 6-year veteran in the NFL. He would technically give you the best chance in the beginning of the season, especially when your first two opponents are playoff teams from last season and the defending AFC champion Cincinnati Bengals and the New England Patriots. It's probably not the best situation to put your rookie quarterback in. I would give Trubisky the starting job, and if things aren't going well by the middle of the season, by the bye week marker, let's say they're a little below 500, 3-5 going into the bye week, I would start putting the plan to put in Kenny Pickett to start the rest of the season if it isn't going well. But I think the opportunity for Trubisky will be good, and it'll help Kenny Pickett have to learn how to game plan for NFL teams instead of college teams. I think the preparation will be very important for Kenny going into every game. So seeing a veteran like Trubisky do it and learning from an experienced QB coach and Mike Sullivan, that'll definitely help him out whenever they do plan to start him. That's how I would play the QB situation now. Before the Steelers QB competition, but there was truly a QB competition going to this season. Trubisky, Rudolph, and Pickett, all of them play really well. And we'll just have to see what happens before Cincinnati. With that, thanks for watching the video. Please like, comment down for your Steelers thoughts in the QB competition, and subscribe if you want more Steelers content. But with that, make sure to stay classy, Steeler Nation.